Hey everyone, welcome back to Biker Protocol. I'm Hollywood Black Patch MC here in Las Vegas.
And I'm Picasso with the Eagle Riders MC here in Las Vegas.
So this video, we're just gonna do one on a user question, and forgive me if I butcher the name. Ragnar Rannock. I know there's Ragnar, the
Ragnarok?
yeah,
Yeah,
that one, but I'm
yeah.
guessing that's where you're going, so forgive me. But I'm gonna paraphrase this. Basically, they're asking if when does a club become a hobby? So the differences between 1% clubs and MCs. What makes them an MC? If the members do not go to other club events, and they not an MC? If they only go to 1% club events and not 99% clubs or any other club events, does it make them a hobbyist? That's the basics, and I think there's a lot to be said about that too. You know, it's a hobby when you're just doing it, in your spare time. I think you need to be participating in the community, right?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think, because we've seen this before. So, in clubs grow and shrink and grow and shrink, right? So there's that. New members come in, they have different opinions on how
Mhm.
things should go. There's different things, right? But clubs change how they operate over spans of time, right? And so, our clubs have both been around for a little while, about
Mhm.
about the same amount of time, but there's many clubs, certainly where we live, that have been around a lot longer. So, they're gonna be more likely to see those kind of things. But I think that, a lot of it just comes down to, how active your members are, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes, even as like you have members that grow with the club and they get older, maybe they don't like going on 700-mile rides
Yeah,
every day,
true,
and
true.
things like that, right? So, I think a lot of it comes down to figuring out like within your club, like how you want to stay busy. So, we have in our club, I can give you an example, is we have some people that love to go to other club events, right?
Mhm.
And in our town, as you know, there's a lot of them, right? So certainly from, I would say, March through November, there's like something going on
Yeah,
almost every
it
weekend.
it gets a little
It
crazy
gets a little
after
crazy.
a while, yeah.
And so you gotta pick and choose. And we have a lot of guys that love going to those things, the parties, the events, the charity rides, all of that. Then we have some people that are just like, I would just like to go on the bike and go on a ride for a
Yeah.
couple 100 miles,
Yeah, we have those.
So you gotta learn to kind of mix and match it a little bit to keep interest. One of the things that we do is whenever we have church is we always open the floor up to everybody and we say, all right, we've got, 2 months of time coming up here for, we've got April and May. Everybody tell us where you want to go. Let's do a
Mhm.
ride. Let's do an event. Let's do something. And we get our members active in it rather than
Yeah,
just have like our road captain just post a bunch of stuff. Right.
yeah.
So we always ask our members, like, where's a ride you've been to? Where's a ride you want to go on? What can we, an overnight, whatever. And we have our members toss it out. And so this way it gets them have more of a vested interest. Right.
So that's one thing, riding and doing it as a group, but, uh, what about that community aspect? I think, Ragnar,
Yeah. We'll call them
was kind
that.
of,
More alluding
touched
to
on,
that.
like, so, yeah, we could ride together, and do our own thing, but not being part of the community, does that not make you an MC? Because I've noticed that, we've had members that decide not to wanna come out and
Yeah,
do
sure.
things, or I've seen other clubs do the same, and you kinda forget them. You forget their names, you
Yeah.
forget who they are, and, once you're forgotten, like, are you a member and so to speak type thing, like, in the
Right.
community?
Well, a lot of being in a motorcycle club is is typically, not always, but typically being active more in your community,
Yeah.
right? And so that can come in a lot of different ways. It might be attending charity events from other motorcycle clubs,
Yeah.
but it might be doing other things too. We go on events and rides and are participate in a variety of things that have nothing to do with the motorcycle world. So, like for example, for years we used to work with an adopted charity, and they've changed hands, and without getting into all the
Mhm.
details, but we used to work with a local adopted charity. It was a veterans charity. And so every year during Veterans Day, they would have a big event. They'd have the mayor come down and city councilmen and local politicians and whatnot. And they would all come down and they would do this big event, to support them. And so they would ask us as a club to come down and kind of like open the ceremonies, right? So we come riding in on our bikes,
Yeah,
then make a bunch
yeah.
of noise. But, it got on the news and it was fun stuff like that. Had nothing to do with the motorcycle world, but it had a lot to do with supporting veterans and certainly
Of
local
course.
ones.
I
And
mean,
so
that kinda
that's we
goes
love
hand in
doing that kind
hand
of
in a
stuff.
lot of
Yeah.
ways too, the
Yeah.
veterans and the motorcycle world. But, I do think there's a lot, to be said about being active in some form or another with, your not only your club but the community,
Yeah.
and not necessarily just charity or events, but maybe you're out at the local bar, the local ride spot where there's other clubs or other bikers that are constantly seeing you going doing things and keeping active. um, I wouldn't say you're not an MC if you should probably spread the events evenly, but if you're sticking to just like 1 percenter
Yeah.
events versus 99 percenters or motorcycle ministries, all this sort of stuff, I wouldn't say you're not an MC. I mean, that's more getting into politics, probably like
Yeah.
why you would probably do one or the other. Um, but I think you do need to be out there.
Yeah, well, like your club does this, right? I mean, you like for example, your club is really well known. You do the first ride of the year,
Yeah,
and
we got
you
our
get a big turnout.
20th anniversary coming up this year.
No
It's
kidding.
gonna be big. We're
So
gonna be
yeah,
doing
and
something.
that event's fantastic. It's
Yeah,
well put together. It's a great ride. Everybody has a ton of fun, and it brings a lot of people together, whether they're in clubs or not.
yeah,
So you do those kind of outreaches. We do like we have an annual pig roast that's open to the community, where we actually roast a pig. We do a charity run every year, which we've talked about.
yeah,
And so, there are things that you can do like that. And both of like all of our events go to support local charities.
yeah,
So, both of which, well, one is motorcycle related, and then the other one is not. So it's veterans related, right?
yeah,
So there's things that you could do for that, but even things like, so for example, during Christmas time, it's really common. A lot of clubs in Vegas here and elsewhere. I'm not just saying here. Will do charity events like they'll do toy drives.
mhm,
During Easter, there's a club that we have interacted with, Carpe Diem, who does a special event where they wrap. It's amazing what they do. They wrap Easter baskets and they bring them to the kids
yeah,
in the hospitals.
that's a good
And
one.
let me tell you something. It's a great event, and it's trippy because it's like really weird when you see these big, huge, tough bikers, these big
Mhm,
1% guys, and you get them into a children's hospital to deliver these baskets, and a lot of these guys really struggle with it.
yeah,
It's because everybody has that, we're all a bunch of tough bikers and all this, and we get all that.
yeah.
But at the end of the day, we're here to support kids, right? And so that can be kind of difficult for some people. So,
So
but we do it because we love it,
so
you know.
if let's say you're doing that, but you kind of just stick to your own group, you're still maybe you go do your own charity events or
Yeah,
you support charity groups, veterans, but you're not out there in the community with other clubs.
yeah,
Does that make you non-MC? Because you're not really being seen necessarily in the MC scene,
right,
um, but you're still doing the biker thing.
right. Well, and I think there's to what you're saying and what
Yeah,
you're alluding to is I agree with. If you're going to establish yourself as an MC in a territory, right? Certainly, if you're like a three patch or a diamond club, right? A lot of what your responsibility is to be known to the other clubs.
hmm,
And so
yeah,
one of the things we do, and I know you do, is we work really hard to go to as many of these events that we can and interact with other clubs and participate in their things, whether it's like a charity event or not.
yeah,
But if you're an MC and nobody knows who you are,
yeah.
that's not always a good thing
We
either.
we were kind of just talking about that off camera about there's a lot of MCs here in Vegas, and a lot that I mean, would you say 200 something?
I've heard there's over 200 clubs. In Vegas, yeah.
And I mean, I could probably count maybe 20 that I know of that I see,
Yeah.
and then you do see those random ones where you're like, I've never seen you before, and I think it comes to, I don't know, I could be jumping on a limb here, but knowing who is in your space. So if you're not around and in the community, seeing event or going to events and rides, people don't know who you are. Like, do we trust this
Yeah.
person? Are they just hobbyists? Which I think Ragnar's getting at is, if you're just a hobbyist riding your motorcycle, a weekend warrior, so to
Weekend
speak,
warrior.
why are you wearing, a cut? Why are
Right.
you trying to become a motorcycle club when you're just having fun and it waters down the community or the
Well, and
culture?
that's a lot of times when you start to see those kind of clubs, and a lot of times those clubs will get put in check by larger
Yeah,
clubs, right?
yeah.
And I've seen that happen, where it's like, what
And
are you
and
guys
I
doing?
and I think that's where when you're out and about and other clubs, I mean, we've experienced it firsthand where if you're out and about and then like say a new club comes around and then they want to like muscle up on you, then other clubs are like, What are you doing?
Yeah,
They've been around longer than you. We
yeah.
we know who this person is. Leave them alone," type thing. So I think there's a lot of benefit from
Oh,
to
I
that.
agree. But even like to a smaller degree, like I don't know if you guys do this. We have little business cards for our club.
Oh
A lot
yeah,
of, a
yeah.
lot of clubs do
Oh,
this.
you know what? I had new ones, but
Did you? Oh, okay. got mine in a box somewhere.
What used to be called courtesy cards, I guess you could say.
Yes,
But
right,
yeah,
right. So we have, I don't know if I have any on me, but we have, I think I do. I hear it rattling in my cut. I think I had the same problem once before. I got some on me somewhere. I don't know.
yeah,
But anyways, I have them on the bike and I have them in my car. Is we do poker chips, right?
yeah,
So that's like our thing. And so we always give poker chips to people, hey, come on a ride with us. But it's also good as like an ambassador thing. When I run in, if I'm at the gas station, I'm not on my bike, I'm just, fueling up my minivan and I'm sitting there pumping gas and I see a club guy roll up,
yeah,
with a cut on and patches and I have no idea who he is. I'll go and introduce myself and say, hey, listen, I don't think we've ever met before. I'm not familiar with your club. Love to talk to you some more. Maybe we can go on a ride together, give him
yeah.
a card. And, it's a good way to just kind of bridge those things too.
I think that's important. Also, distinction of whether you're a hobbyist or not.
Yeah.
Because the idea of a motorcycle club is you're living and breathing. It used to be more so it is your life, but it's supposed to be a big portion of your life
Yeah.
and priority, a big priority in your life. So doing stuff like that where you're not on a bike, you're not even around bikers, you're not wearing any of your leathers or anything,
Yeah.
and you go up and say, introduce yourself to another biker. That's, I think, also what kind of tells you you're not a hobbyist.
Right. Oh, I agree. And to expand on that, like this happened to us once. It actually happened to me once. So I was at, where in the world was I? I think it was at a restaurant. It's a couple years ago. It was like at a bar restaurant kind of thing, right?
Mhm.
And a bunch of guys walked in, and I was the only one there. And a bunch of guys walked in, and they all had cuts on, matching cuts, right? So I knew they were a club. Saw a rocker on them, and I was like, okay. And it was a club I'd never heard of. So I went and introduced myself, gave my info and everything. And they actually wound up coming to our clubhouse. We had a drink one night just to get to know each other and everything. And they had told me, they're like, oh yeah, it was like 5 of them. They just threw on a bunch of patches, had no idea what to
Oh,
do, never
really?
asked permission from anybody.
Oh, no.
Yeah, like didn't go through any of the protocols, right?
Yeah.
Nothing. Certainly nothing that we talk about on this channel, right? And so they were like, just, hey, let's throw some patches on,
Yeah.
and hadn't really thought it through, didn't really research it. And so we saved them a lot. In fact, if I remember right, their cut had colors on it that matched a 1% club in town.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah, it
That's
was
bad.
just, it was disaster written all over it. And so a lot of what we did was we told them like, look, you're doing this all wrong. Let us get the right introductions going for you. Let us help you out. And they wound up changing their patches. They went like, it was a whole thing that spanned about a year for them. And they're still around. And so now they're more respected in the community.
Yeah.
They've joined some local fraternal organizations of bikes and some other things. And so now we're starting to know who they are.
Mhm.
And I
They're
think
not hobbyists anymore.
they're not, no. But when they started, they very much were.
Yeah,
And I think, in fact, I think if I remember right, they took off their bottom rocker, made like a single patch out of it because I think they realized what they were doing
Yeah.
was going to get them in trouble.
It kind
And
of
so, it's like that kind of
it
stuff.
kind of starts that way. I mean, we were all hobbyists when we got a
Sure,
motorcycle.
of course.
Like, I want to ride a motorcycle.
Well, we all start that way, right?
Yeah, and then you learn or you start to adapt and decide what you want and what
Yeah.
you want to take more seriously, and then you're here where we are.
Yeah.
So I think that's like, I mean, yeah, and when it comes to members too, like in your own group, if they're not participating, if they aren't coming out to events, riding, aren't showing up to church or whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
everyone's got their own rules based on what to do, protocol, I should say. But yeah, they're more of a hobbyist in a lot of ways, and your club needs to kind of probably figure that one out. Like
Yeah.
decide what to do, whether it's talk to them, figure out what their direction is. Because I'm a firm believer too. Like, if you're going to invite someone in, and especially if they get to member status, they've obviously done their dues
Mhm.
to a certain point. You don't just throw them, into the wind and say see you later.
Yeah.
So I'm a firm believer in working with them, but some people just realize, oh, this is too much work, or they just wanted to ride their motorcycle, and there's nothing wrong with that either.
No,
But
no, not at all.
that makes you
But
you're
there's
not in a motorcycle.
but there's a club and there's a relationship with riding your motorcycle, depending on what you want to do. Right?
Yeah.
And sometimes maybe joining into an MC, certainly as you're starting to deal with multiple patch MCs or one,
Mhm.
you got to have to gauge what you want out of that and what you can contribute to that
Yeah,
is what's going to make the club better and make you better.
Yeah.
Because it's not always just what you want, but it's a lot what you're contributing to the club.
Yeah.
If you're not contributing to make the club better and grow it and establish itself in the community, whether it's for charity events or motorcycle events or just to know other clubs,
Mm.
you have to ask yourself why you're in it.
what it's not what the club can do for you, but
What you can do for the club. Exactly right. Yeah.
So
It's sort of quote Kennedy, I think. there, yeah.
with that said, I mean, I hope that answers your question, Ragnar Rodnock.
Yeah, whatever.
Um,
That's right.
we appreciate your comments.
Yeah, we do.
We really do. we read all. We try to respond to all of them. At
Yeah.
least I'm always on there trying to respond.
Me too. Yeah.
And then as well as emails too, on our website. What's down in the description.
Yeah. Biker Protocol.
And yeah, we love answering these. These are more fun sometimes than the typical,
Yeah.
topics of like, officer positions. Like
Yeah.
we need to know those, but this is when people are out there actually in the scene and learning, or they have a new way of looking at things, or new
For sure.
things, or ideas.
Yeah. So please, we love it. Leave it in the comments. If you have questions or things you'd like us to answer, we have a long list it's growing as we come back in the studio more often. We're going to be doing every week. We'll be doing new videos. And so please leave it in the comments. If you have questions on anything we're talking about or things we're not talking about, please leave in the comments. We will be happy to do a video on it. So it's always, wonderful. And then if you haven't done so, please also like and subscribe. You can do that down below. Click the subscribe button and the notification bell. That helps bring the videos to you every week, so you get notified and when we're doing new videos, which generally come out every Friday. So, so we try to get them out every Friday around noon-ish in Vegas time.
And
So,
don't forget, we do have a pretty good library so far of a lot of topics.
Yeah, for sure.
Worth checking out.
So cool.
So,
well, let's wrap up our video here, but we got to do a traditional shot. You don't know what we're drinking today. I know I'm poisoning you all day today. Okay, cheers. This one's, I don't think it's as bad as some of the other stuff, but.
Oh, it smells bad.
Oh, it does smell bad. This is, oh God, that's way worse than I thought it was going to be.
Oh,
Oh man, this is bad.
that's
It's
a UV. Oh,
UV peach. I don't know if we can get our camera.
no, that wasn't good at all.
No, this is, I'm going to get the camera. Oh man. Sorry if you work for this company, but you make a crappy,
Who
Ugh.
drinks that?
not me.
I think
Well, I
we
guess
should-
us today, but
I'm gonna bring some good. I'm gonna bring some good.
yeah, we need to, because this,
stuff in.
this is embarrassing. I feel, oh man, is that bad? Okay. Anyways, thanks for watching our videos, guys. Peace out. Keep the shiny side up.
Later.
We'll see you on the next one. Oh,
That is so
man.